NXT series is back at the virtual Motor City, home to the Detroit Grand Prix. This is Belle, and in our spring season here in iRacing, 2026 sees its first warm race of the year in Detroit. Welcome back to coverage on the VOR Broadcasting Network. It's great to return to the racing action in street circuit racing, and we are ready now for what is set to be a thriller. Now, of course, moments away with qualifying on the move. I'll be leading you through tonight's coverage. I'm David Kreutz alongside Seb Kinder. We'll be commentating, and on the board, pressing the buttons, is Julian Altena working behind the scenes. This is one of those racing circuits that we got to look out for as one of the best in terms of racing excitement. Seb, we're moments away from getting to that green flag. How do you feel about what's next to come?
I gotta say, I love being in Detroit, in Florida. You know, David, this is such a lovely place. Oh, we got already kind of well, but yeah, St. Petersburg. This is going to be such a fun one. Indy cars, whether it's NXT or and I think WWE just sent me a copyright strike. And the main series, it's always such fun racing. So expect some shenanigans. That's what I'm going to say.
We are now 3 minutes away from pulling into the big show. We have 45 laps ahead of us. Right now, you'll see those lap times. They are rapid fast. This is one of those smaller street-style circuits. And even with these Indy NXT cars, they might not be the fastest open-wheel machines on the planet. They are still booking through each and every one of these corners. At the top of the board right now, Ivan Machado Perez, he finds himself leading by a few tenths of a second here. And even still, lap times are competitive all the way down. The mid-pack especially tight. Got a lot of drivers in that 105 bracket. That's something to look out for. Close speeds in a 1 or 2 lap run. But again, it's going to go much longer than that, so it'll be more than 40 laps potentially under green if drivers can stay calm.
It's not a surprising him up there. I remember he stomped the field run 1 at Sebring. We also got Dalton in second, also someone who was strong at Sebring, and Top also was also a decent driver, if I do remember correctly. So not a very surprising top 3 right now, David.
Currently, 11 drivers have taken times with 2 minutes left on the board. The championship standings after 2 races already shaping up to be a big fight in the top 5 places, but leading the way is Robert Ridgway by a firm 74-point margin. Next to him would be Kwame Scott with 411 points, Jared Curry 346, and Frank Nguyen 328 is only up by David Dalton on 1 point advantage. 4th and 5th are close, but right now Ridgway leads the championship pretty firm. Some of these drivers have not yet gotten their races in for this week of action. For some, they have, some they haven't, so going to see some shuffles after this week for certain. But Ridgway has a big championship edge, and you'll see him right now running 10th. To take a look on board with driver telemetry here. 1 minute and 8 seconds left on the clock for all drivers here. It's St. Petersburg in Florida today. Belle Isle, not the race we're looking at. Just to clarify, this circuit coming in at just about 1.8 miles and a very fast track, even with that length. These drivers have long, sweeping sections to deal with, and overall, a lot of time to get on the pedal. That explains the very fast speeds. Maybe our championship leader still needs a little bit more of a boost to get up the qualifying lineup. He still has a lot to work through if this is where he ends up.
Well, felt like the rear was spinning out for Desire there.
Seconds left on the clock. Still a few drivers have to take some times here, and we're moments away from reading out that starting grid. So before we do it, I have to ask you, Seb, your experience here at St. Pete, what should these drivers be looking out for as the keys to victory?
So I'm not really, I have yet to race at St. Pete on iRacing. I did once or twice on AC de Corsa. Rule number 1, just stay away from the walls. Hit the walls as less as possible. That's the first order of business. And just, yeah, your biggest opponent is yourself. Keep your focus. And, yeah, don't try anything crazy like a certain Scott McLaughlin did on Roman Grosjean one year. Still bitter about this one.
Well, I think one thing that we can say about all these street circuits is it's a completely different type of racing from the traditional road circuit. You've got concrete barriers around you as we get the overhead shots brought to you by Julian there. You have nowhere to run or really hide if you make a mistake. These racetracks of this style, unforgiving, St. Pete, very much the same, and it is a fast track, which means that going slow is a big penalty. That's obvious in racing all the time, but at a regular road circuit, maybe there's more off-track room to recover. Here, it's do it right or don't do it at all. And right now, your starting lineup is getting ready to go. So I think, Seb, it's about time we begin introducing them. I'll kick it off with our top 10 as it's Ivan Machado Perez who takes the pole position over David Dalton. Dalton fighting in the top 5 in points. This is a big run for him as he gets to second. Chris Rosenkrantz will line up third and first on the inside of row 2. It'll be Johannes Trump, number 5 machine, in fourth. Michelle Hanjwick in the number 11, row 3 in P5, and then from there you'll have Isabel Matthews. Matthews will go 6th. 7th place in that 4th row is Miles Brown, and P8 is David Clennon of Canada. Their lap time separate by just 1/10 of a second. And the last drivers in the top 10, Robert Ridgway, the championship leader, and Bryce Calusa from the United States, 10th off. He'll take P10, Seb.
Yep. Wasn't expecting that, but okay. 6th row is composed of J.W. Miller and Gabriel Asselian. Behind them in the 7th row would be Eric Forbes and Diederik Morsman. Behind them in the 8th row we'll have Brian Vidal and Christopher Sahim. In the 9th row we'll have Lilac Zaire and Ellis Spice. And alone, I think, in the 10th row is Guillaume Dupont. Didn't even try to hide my French accent there.
So that gives us 19 that are set to take the green flag today. All of which right now taking it to the racetrack for the very first time today together. That is a big deal. Once again, this is race 3 on the campaign of the 2026 spring season, St. Petersburg. It's time to get things warmed up here in Florida. And the excitement, of course, bubbling on as the championship fight continues. Street racing, the first real chance to test their muscle. All these drivers here, we're just a lap away now. And as we come through this final pace lap, I'd like to thank all the people who will make these broadcasts possible for us here at VOR. Big thing is our big sponsor at iCoaching. iCoaching's high-level setups and personalized coaching programs are built to take your iRating and race consistency to the next level. Get your setups for this series, as well as the iRacing IndyCar series, by visiting them online, iCoaching.co. Not .com, but .co. Thank you again to iCoaching. And I'm certain a lot of these drivers here putting their best effort in. They've put the work. Now they're here to keep the battle going. Next broadcast here for VOR, you'll see on the 22nd. That's tomorrow. We'll be going racing from Long Pond, Pennsylvania in Pocono. Next week, Indy NXT continues with Barber. And you'll have the flagship series, VOR and the IndyCar series, St. Petersburg on April 4th with a doubleheader until heading to Sin City in Las Vegas on April 11th. Watch out for our next 5 broadcasts. We'll have one Indy NXT race, the flagship series for a doubleheader, and of course Las Vegas as well. But today, the focus is on the street circuit in St. Petersburg. The iRacing pace car lets them loose. It will be 19 drivers in the 3rd race of the season, with a championship battle still to fight for. Number 1, easily out and away. It is the green flag for the 19-car field, led off by Ivan Machado Perez, 45 laps away here in sunny Florida. early going here in St. Pete. Clean, calm, collected, Seb. Not much to note so far. The qualifying lineup basically single file as they were originally arranged. It's a good situation right now, of course, if you are Machado Perez, as he leads and now has a firm gap. At the end of lap number 1, he's got a second on the rest of the field, and he has clean air. Seb, when it comes to this Indy NXT racing build, of course, how important is this to have clean air? Can you walk us through maybe a little bit of insight in what it's like to be behind the pack versus in front?
I mean, it's pretty much like any other car, especially Indy cars. These cars, they have big wings, and these wings, they push air, and yeah, they also create that dirty air. We see a little battle there. So when you're in that dirty air, then you have less front downforce, and that means you have to slow down a bit more to make this car turn. And when you're in clean air, this is perfect. You don't overheat your tires. You have all your downforce. Everything is all good and dandy, and you're able to just pull away without really forcing much. And this is what even Machado Perez is really good at, because this is what he did at Sebring. So pretty much, yeah, that's what happened when you're in someone's dirty air.
Watching aboard now with Ridgway, Robert Ridgway, who finds himself as the number 3 seed, but he currently runs in 8th. Tell you this much, it's going to be a tense circumstance for these championship fighters, every point counting, but Ridgway has a firm championship edge. The top 5 in points is very, very contentious. We saw before, David Dalton is barely hanging on to a top 5 spot, but for Ridgway, he's got a little bit of room to lay back right now. Aggression early, not what we've seen so far, maybe not what we're going to expect to see, as we're seeing drivers breaking away from each other into very small groups. No big packs right now, some double file racing further back, but nothing major. Right now, most drivers just lining up with their speed and trying to get back to work. I believe, as we see Dalton there take it up in a 3rd, that's 1 pass, so we got Dalton taking it to the podium. Robert Ridgway looking for a little bit of motion, and the green indicator on the left side of the ticker, I believe that is your push-to-pass indicator, so if there's anyone on the button, watch out for that. They'll get a little bit of extra horsepower, and that's huge down these long straights, Seb.
Yeah, 150 seconds of push to pass with these cars, and yeah, you want that extra power. Yeah, as you said, those straights are big. I see Forbes kind of like struggling with understeer in that dirty air, so maybe he has to be, because these cars have adjustable ARBs like in the big Indy car, so you can adjust the blades from softest to rigid. And the softer it is on the front, that means you kind of corrected that understeer. I mean, the front is a bit more playful, and it's kind of like the other way around for the rear. And on the rear, the softer it is, the tighter you keep that rear, and yeah, the less soft you want that rear to step, pretty much.
Looking now, an opportunity for number 9 of Diedrich Marsman. Hasn't yet gotten the pass through. We've been watching back and forth, and push to pass being used lightly early. You talk about these drivers have a certain amount of time available. We'll take a replay and just get it back to the live feed.
Yeah, that's Kazusa, yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful little spin there to get back into pace, but like Kazusa is now dead last, but it's still a long way to go. We still have 41 laps left to go, David.
Yeah, I mean, luckily that wasn't big damage. A little bit of contact and a nudge, yes, but I think that Bryce is going to be able to continue on, and it was a quick recovery, spinning it back around. That's one of the few spots on the track where you have some grace. He went outside of the circuit, had a little bit of space to spin himself back around. That's not the case everywhere. You miss a corner in some of these tighter, narrower spots, you're really going to be done for. Right now, the gap between your leaders is still about a second's worth. 3rd place in David Dalton. Once again, going to get on the push to pass briefly. We're riding on board, however, with the number 16 of Vidal, Brian Vidal here. He's currently in 14th, and you'll see very light on the brakes, if ever used. It's going to be all about the power here in St. Petersburg. And one comparison I think of really quickly. Oh, Watkins, a little bit of wiggle there. You're right, Seb.
Yeah, I was fully expecting the guy behind to go full on dive bomb there, but no, still keeping it cool and collected right now.
I think a dive bomb 6 laps in would be a little bit early, don't you think?
It would be for me. It would be early, but we never know on iRacing. So sometimes some people are just like, sure, I'll dive on turn one. But there we go for number 17, side by side.
It's going to be Guillaume Dupont making a move. Dupont for the 14th position. He's going to make that move and take it. Quick pass in a tight spot.
Fine, like he stayed cool. He didn't went for the dive on. He waited for the main straight, and like I really like what he did, Guillaume. And yeah, started last, and he's up to 14th, so not a bad start for Guillaume.
And still, of course, some time to pull through for more positions. 6 laps in out of 45 here. Seb, with the fuel information, what are we going to be looking at when it comes to pit stops today? I think that's something big to look out for if things stay as calm as they are.
I have zero fuel information. When we were to Sebring, they didn't need to do a pit stop, if I remember correctly, but like 45 laps. 45 laps to do here today. I like legit. That's a good information that I don't have. But it should be one stop. I hear in my ears.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind. One stop makes sense. It's a 1.8 mile trip around each and every time. Say, for instance, these guys split the race in half. They'll be expecting to go on each fuel run for about 40-ish miles. But tire is going to become the big thing, because when you wear out your tire, that's a whole different story. I'm not sure if we have the weather information. I believe we do, so let's discuss that. Track temp is 105 degrees Fahrenheit. We're working with Celsius on the screen. It's 44 Celsius and 26 Celsius ambient temp. That's about 80 Fahrenheit.
The cool thing is on the on our ATVO lifetiming stuff, we have like both Celsius and Fahrenheit separate information. That's pretty neat. Yeah, 44 degrees the Celsius track temps. Yeah, that's not a lovely time. You're not having a good time.
I mean, triple digits is always difficult. 105, it could be worse, but at the very same time, you're right about that, Seb. It's not wonderful at all. It might be fine for the first 10 to 15 laps. That's the position we're in right now. But think about what's going to happen when we get to the point where drivers have to, say for instance, go 20 laps or go 25 laps. That's when you're in a difficult spot. That's when it becomes how long you're going to manage it. Is it worth staying out there long? It might cause you a problem. Ooh. Wow, you can see there, that was too close for comfort.
Yeah, I don't think you could put your credit card in between the tire and the wall there.
Yeah, 100%. That was as narrow as it gets.
Exactly.
Well, either way, the field keeps on moving. We've gotten quite a few close calls, I'll tell you this much. Luckily, everyone's gotten away from them so far. 9 laps in, only one incident that we've noted to this point. It's been an early, strong, calm, collected first quarter of racing. I think that's going to be the trend we see, hopefully for the entire race right now, is it's very small packs put together. Few drivers have found each other's match. I think those are going to be the big fights all race long. We're looking now at the number 9. That's going to be one to look out for, Marsman. And it looks like this battle is going to be between Dietrich Marsman as he looks on try to take 11th place. Looking for P11 right now. We'll see if he can get it. Gabriel Sailing.
And he's got to watch out because we have a Dupont right behind, and he's pretty fast. Because when he went to 13th, he was 2 seconds behind the pair, and now he's below second. David Dupont is on like the rugby player who shares the same family name. He's on a run.
Oh, looking to the inside. Oh. Not quite a dive, but very clear he's going to use that push to pass. Both drivers use it for a second, and they're going to get back on it. Push to pass now for Marsman and Assailan. Both trying something here, but into one, not going to make it work. Yeah, he was nearly in Asselian's gearbox. Yeah, Asselian had a bit of a high lane in the hairpin, but that allowed him to have a better exit. Oh, I think he's going for it. Wow. Oh, right in the wall.
Yeah, that's suspension damage, David.
Still ahead, mind you. That's going to give DuPont the opportunity to maybe take both positions. Last lap, DuPont was closer to a second away. The gap has halved and might become even a quarter. Unbelievable. Marsman has gotten away and now holds the position even with what is probably suspension damage. Let's take a replay.
If he doesn't have suspension damage, David, I'm going to see that car in tech inspection because that would be some illegal suspensions.
That was a harsh dive, and maybe the luckiest pass we've seen all day.
Yeah, because he didn't break in Florida, David. He braked in South Carolina.
And you see there's definitely damage. If we go back live, is Marsman still in the position?
Meanwhile, Dupont actually made the move on the Astonian, so he's gonna have a... Ooh.
Look at that gap, though.
Yeah, that's actually impressive.
Very impressive. Wow. I am shocked. We see damage on that. Oh, yeah. That's where it comes to bite you.
Yeah, I think he's probably his car is crabbing. His car is not. It's not steering straight, David.
I mean, he's got the spot, and we haven't seen him lose it yet. Marsman still holds an 1/8 of a second advantage. We'll watch that battle as much as we can, but in the meanwhile, some other fights on the racetrack include, well, here's the number 10. That's a fight just a little bit outside of our previous view. This is going to be the battle for 15th. We'll take another look at that in a moment's time, as we are now looking at a 3-car string led right now by the number 11. So we're going to be looking here at the fight that's just inside the top 5. This is very contentious. You have Johannes Trope right behind. You've got driver, the number 11, Michael Henswick. Oh, there you go. Marsman loses one.
Yeah, that was fixed. And Dupont he's on the heater, so I don't know what happened to him in qualifying. If he actually like hit the wall, because in qualifying, if you do a 0x, you lose the time as same move actually.
Wow, but that time no damage.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Dupont is on a heater. I gotta say, like just a shame he didn't qualify better, because he would have been pretty good. I wonder what his lap times are. Let me check.
Probably has a good chance now at the top 10. If someone makes a mistake up and ahead, it very well could be his.
Matthews and Taup. Now this is what I like to see.
Here's a fight. This one's going to be important. It's going to be 3 drivers. Perhaps if Matthews can get a little bit closer. Isabel Matthews again we're looking at right now.
Oh, we see Top again getting that higher lane, entering the hairpin, trying to get that better exit. This is what's so good about that final corner. It's like you have like multiple ways to run it as marksman. Yeah, that's in the pits, and that's a pretty long pit. So probably some repairs going on for him.
Guess a little bit more contact with the wall did him in. Let's see. Oh, spun around.
Hey. Yeah, that was Gabriel. For Gabriel, like, he had nowhere to go. Like, you turn a corner, and then suddenly you see a car on the wrong, like facing the wrong direction right in front of you. What do? You die. Boom! Oh.
Well, all things considered, very little car-to-car contact.
Yeah.
So that's a very lucky stop and go, even though it's going to help out for Brian Vidal. Vidal could definitely take advantage of that and try to make a pass. 15 laps in out of 45. We're 1/3 of the way in. And so far, that's the only big mistake that we've seen today.
That and I don't remember. I think that was Forbes maybe also like sent it in the in runoff. But yeah, that pretty clean as we see on the leaderboard. I see like Perez very far ahead.
Taking it to the inside.
Oh, someone's spinning.
There's one to pit road. Yeah, let's take a look at that. So pit road starting to open that window early on. I'm wondering what's that going to mean for the rest of the field here.
It's Glennon in the pits, so yeah, that's. Oh, that car doesn't have a front wing.
Oh, we got trouble. Big trouble. Let's try to get a replay on this one. Looks like that is, yeah, David Glennon.
Oh, yeah. Maybe too eager on the throttle at the exit of the corner. Oh, and... Okay.
That's a harsh clip. Again, that's street circuit racing for you. When you get into a situation where there's nowhere to run or nowhere to hide, your car will get torn apart. Big problems there for David Glennon, but he will be able to carry on.
As this is Carusan Asselien.
Battle for 11th here.
Oh, little snap.
Wow. Two drivers back-to-back snapping through these corners. That's something we've seen. The rear end snapping on drivers has caused multiple incidents. Drivers they're at their limit. That's for sure. And the tires, I don't think, are helping.
Yeah, the tires are like, please, I don't care. I can't take it anymore. And the driver's like, what do you mean? We still have like 10 laps to go on this stint.
Riding from the backside. Here's a big move there. And that is your number 2 of Rosenkrantz. So this is the battle between leaders and lap traffic.
Oh,
Lilac's there in the mix as well. Lilac, 15th.
I wasn't expecting us to have some lap traffic action as they... Was there like a whole side pod missing from that number 7 car? I'm pretty sure I saw like the whole freaking radiator, but I may be seeing things.
Take a look.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, David, there's one thing's for sure. He won't have any cooling issues there.
Oh, contact 2 cars! David Dalton, the championship top 5 fighter, is one of them.
That was Dalton and
That's the number 10 of Ellis Spice, who was one of the lap drivers we just talked about.
Oh, that's a yeah. There's going to be some frustration out there. What? Holy smokes!
That is horrible for Dalton, who came into this race just 1 point inside the top 5. He's going to need a rebound race next week, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I think you have like Rob Fritz. Well, I know you on some. Oh, look how airborne that car got. That's insane.
Nasty moment. Unfortunately, things like that, they happen in racing. Sometimes in street racing circumstances, all too often for drivers, you can't get around the lappers. Here's a move now. Lap traffic still being moved away by Ivan Machado Perez. He's had no problem in doing that. Up to 3rd place now is number 11 of Michael Hanswick. And Ivan Perez is the dominant man today. He has not had to doubt that all night long.
Yeah, he's from another planet here. This is crazy how he's the number 1 seed, and then you have the 2 seed 4 seconds behind. That's how good Perez is.
It's going to be a big shuffle in the points race. I'm pretty certain about that. We're closing in on halfway right now, and after Dalton has contact, he is down to 13th and 25 seconds away from the next closest driver. Matter of fact, he's on pit road.
So someone in chat actually said no pits needed. Interesting.
Yeah, but 45 laps, I think the only reason the pit would be tires if there's a real problem. Fuel should be fine.
Oh.
Here's David Kaluza looking for another move. This is for 9th.
He's on the button. Wow, he's using a lot of that button.
Maybe burning it out a little bit too early, wouldn't you think? That might be what's going on.
Yeah, and wow, they're really not a lot of time left on those pusher passes, David. Zaire has none. Rosencross has none. Has 42 seconds, so maybe also some.
Being able to push it past this early is really, really tricky. I mean, you see it right here. Being second for Rosenkrantz, the track position's going to help, but nothing left. After 20 laps, we still have more than 25 to go. Not good.
Oh.
We'll see if it becomes a problem. Take a look at this move.
Oh, no, oh,
No.
you lost it. Boom.
Oh, the same thing that we saw with Marsman earlier in the race. Bryce Kaluza with contact. That is going to set him back big.
Yeah, and that was a big impact, so I'm pretty sure like the last suspension has taken a hit, and I tried to see like if his front right was like facing an unorthodox direction, but doesn't look like it on my POV.
Hopefully doesn't end up causing a wreck. I would be surprised if he was able to get some of those spots back, at least without going to pit road. Here is one that wiggles, and it looks like we got some trouble for the number 18. Yeah. That is Eric Forbes.
I think he was letting by leaders, which are respectable because technically the blue flag we have on iRacing is we have like this is Marsman probably parking it. He had another issue?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, wow. Darn.
Oh, the front fully ripped out.
I think that's towel thrown and meanwhile, in the life of Ivan Machado Perez, he's having a nice stroll through St. Petersburg.
6 seconds up on the next driver. That gap could go to up to 10 plus by the end of this race if that pace continues. Most likely more than 12. Top three is separated by close to 30 seconds, so we're going to keep our eyes peeled on the action. Taking a look again at Kaluza, who even with that contact we saw through one of the most treacherous parts of the racetrack, has gotten back up again and is fighting to regain 9th place. Currently, it's about a half second between these two drivers. They still have half the race to go now as we cross the 23 lap marker, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce tries to lay down an aggressive move early.
Yeah, he's gotta wait for the right move, I would say, and as we see a car going very wide there.
Wow, big contact. Number 10 up in the air. We have trouble to look back at. That's hella spice.
That's the second time he's been involved with flying in the air.
Oh, my goodness. And probably the worst.
I didn't know we signed up for early 2000s Indy Racing League action.
So, that's a race ender if we've seen one all day. Harsh hit.
Yeah, he had a few feet of elevation there. He came out of the pits. Or is he?
Oh! Wow. Can you believe it? Just came out of the pits and that happens.
this is similar to some issues we had at Arlington, actually, where like you had the drivers inconvenience themselves on the exit.
Wow.
I mean, not much both could do. That's just wrong place, wrong time, I think.
They both found the same spot on the racetrack, and it wasn't like they made hard contact, but that little jolt just shot them both to the two different walls. Can't believe it.
So that's a replay.
So this was the battle for ninth.
Nice! That's a good move.
Bryce Kaluza, I'll tell you this much, even with the contact he had before, he has been fearless. So watch what happens here as he goes on the outside and takes it.
Yeah.
Wow. He was loose, but he kept control.
Yeah. That was brilliant driving. The fact that he managed to get around the outside on turn 1 of all places. Yeah, shout out to that, and I gotta say, like, I put my seal of approval on that pass. Put down an overtakes of the day.
Less than 20 laps to go next time by. Ivan Machado Perez leads by 16 seconds. That is more than double last time we checked that. That's unbelievable. He could get up to 30 at the rate he's moving now. Third place, Hanjwick back on the push to pass, but he's 8 seconds out from Rosenkrantz. Now, it looks like the battle for third might be the closest on the racetrack, as you have the number 5 of Trop looking for something.
Yeah. Right now, I feel like at the start of the straights, you probably need to be like 3/10, a quarter of a second behind the car in front to maybe try a little something cheeky on the hairpin. Also, something I noticed, Dupont actually disappeared and like he actually retired the car, so probably either connection issues or a crash from the number 17, which was a shame considering how fast he was today.
I mean, without a doubt, he was having a good race, fighting up there to get into the top 10, but it just didn't work out. All things considered, though, I gotta ask you, Seb, it's push to pass. You talk about the 3/10 of a second window. Is it a little bit wider if one driver uses push to pass down a straight and the other doesn't? I'm wondering, could Hanjwick go for a early push to pass at a further gap and maybe try to get himself into third, or rather Trop try to do that and try to take third place? Would that catch another driver by surprise?
You know, you could actually. It's kind of like a chess match when you think about it, because you're trying to try to outsmart your opponent. So they could totally do that. But as I was saying, the 3/10 is pretty much how I would view, like, if I'm behind this much, if I'm behind 3/10 of this guy, maybe I can use push to passes to actually get close enough to try a dive bomb or something. But right now, Trop is a bit even too far to use push to pass, and that would be kind of a waste using it right now.
I think maybe on a long straight there's a chance, but the corners are a little too technical to even give it a shot. I'm wondering if that front straightaway becomes the site of something later on, but we'll keep that in mind. Right now, this is the only battle within a second, so everything else has gotten very well spaced out. And I figure with that in mind, can we get a look at the next few weeks on the schedule for this series? I'm not sure if we can. We're 3 races in, and we still have many a week to run. So up next for the Indy NXT Firestone iRacing series, you'll see Barber next week, Long Beach to kick off April, and then of course the month of May comes through and we will have the Indianapolis road course. Belle will be coming round 7, the 30th of May, and then we'll head to Gateway for the first race of June. So that is the next leg of the schedule that leads us to the halfway point. Barber next, and as you can see, this is the only bona fide street circuit we have. Sebring is tricky. It's a tricky track, that's for certain. St. Petersburg, right on the streets of Florida, and that's what we're looking at for the future races. Seb, when you look at that lineup, I gotta wonder, what races are you most looking forward to?
Long Beach. because it's my favorite street track in America. So I would say like Long Beach and Barber. Those are very good. Those are very good racetracks.
Long Beach? Oh, I mean, you can't have any car without Long Beach, I don't think. Not at all.
You cannot. You cannot. I mean, you can. It's called the Indy Racing League, and we know how good it was.
Well,
Or how bad it was.
well, at least anyway, nowadays, no, you can't get away with that. But either way, there are some good races on that schedule. I mean,
Yeah.
you got a mix of the ovals, you got the road courses, you got the street circuits. Indianapolis Road is going to be interesting to have that come back to life. The one of only 2 races in May. A lot of breaks in the schedule, but then the second half of the year is going to be a lot more to work out for.
Kind of like the real life IndyCar schedule where they kick in high gear in summer in order to finish the season in September.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, the Indy road course, I wish we could have like the IndyCar version on the first sector, but have the Formula 1 version of going into turn 1. I would say that would be like the best version of the road course.
30 laps in out of 45. So we are 2/3 of the way down. I mean, it's been Perez's race the whole time. I'll tell you this much. I don't think there has been even a shadow of a doubt of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell you, Seb. This looks like a one race, but you can't say that until it's over.
Yeah, I mean, never say it's over before it's really over. Reminder that Alex Palou bottled a given race when I'm in Ohio last year. But yeah, Perez is like... did I see a car with no front wing again?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the 15 of David Clennon.
Yeah, he's again with from winglet. Oh, there's a car with a rear wing. What happened there? Oh.
We'll take a look at Clennon.
Oh, that was interesting. So there was all the other car was already in the wall there.
Now, who was that? We haven't seen much of that Castro GTX car throughout the night. Contact. No number on there. I mean, that's because of how much damage there was. So that's a 2-car incident and almost a track blocker.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, they would have thrown the caution there. Yeah. So I saw Perez having a nightmare of a moment.
Wow! Oh, wow! That would have been a race ender! I can't believe that!
The netcode god saved them there.
Whoa!
You saw the front wing repaired itself.
Seb, that was ridiculous. Can we get an on board of that?
I mean, that was code brown. That was code brown. I was like, yeah, I'm going to need another pair of pants.
I can't believe it. Well, let's take a look. Here's David Clennon.
Yeah, so he has the car in front, dumping it.
Then Perez is on the way. I'll tell you this much, he's eating those curves. We haven't even talked about how he's going into the corners tonight. And you can see he knows the limits and he's been pretty fearless with them. But watch this. I can't believe what we just saw.
Yeah, this is like he had 0.2 of a second to react, and my guy just, he had those inhuman reflexes. Whoa!
Wow, that's all I gotta say. Perez, what a move. Ridiculously good, I'll tell you that much. Move of the race there for Ivan Machado Perez. We'll take it back live. That is the hardest moment that he's had to have all race long. He leads by 19 seconds. Is that a warning shot? Maybe he's gotta back it down just a little bit. He's confident. I think that's a good thing. Here's Lilac Zier and a little bit of cunt.
So we have JW Miller, which was it the Castro car that crashed? So that was him who crashed and lost his rear wing, which is unexpected because JW Miller was a regular of the formerly known Indy Pro 2000 PM18 series, which had their strength of field broadcasts on Thursdays. So... Oh. Interesting. Ugh.
J.W. Miller. Wow. He gets away. At least he gets back rolling until damage was repaired.
Yeah, they managed to fix his rear wing. Oh, you should give his mechanics a raise for that.
33 laps in out of 45. Again, that Perez move. We could replay that 1,000 times. I don't think that's going to get old.
No, exactly not. We're like, you could put that on repeat. Make this my new. Well, I don't hear sound, but make this my new. Make this a GIF. Make this a GIF. Oh my god. It's really in my ears saying GIF or GIF. This is very funny because in French I do say GIF.
I think it's GIF. I think it's
GIF.
GIF.
It's GIF.
I'm not going to even entertain GIF.
Because if you say GIF, that means you say JPEG.
Never heard anyone say that.
So we agree, it's GIF.
Yeah, at least we can agree on that. I'm fine with that agreement.
And a lot of space between every car there, David. There's not a... The closest we have are Traup and Matthews being a second and a half apart. Otherwise...
That could change. I think that's one to look at, Traup and Matthews. We've seen it. 1.5 seconds. That's a gap that can get cut down, but right now they're only just barely occupying the same straightaway. Lap traffic has given us the most excitement over the last 10 to 15 laps. Otherwise, it really has been running in file for the majority of this race. Pit stops don't turn out to be needed here. I'm wondering, it looks like it came down to the temperature. 105 Fahrenheit still. Partly cloudy skies. There just wasn't enough to worry about in terms of those track conditions.
I mean, you still gotta deal 45 laps with a track that is 108 degrees Fahrenheit hot. Still, the tires are not having a good time.
Less than 10 laps to go next time around, Seb. Any final predictions? There are only 7 drivers on the lead lap, mind you, so I don't know how much can change, but is there anything else you think is going to happen?
So, I think only the top 5 is going to finish it in the lead lap. That's my prediction.
49 seconds back is Ridgeway. 45 back is Brown with 10 to go. Not a bad prediction. Not a bad prediction. I am going to say that Traup is going to get one more run and try to take 3rd place. That's what I see happening. I think Rosenkrantz is locked in 2nd. I think we might see one more fight for 3rd. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's time to pull the Lewis Hamilton. Bono, my tires are gone, and then he pulls 5 fastest lap in a row.
7 cars. 50 seconds back is Ridgeway, who is your championship leader. Here's a ride on board with Isabel Matthews. Matthews here finds 5th pretty comfortable. It looks like about 9 seconds up on Brown, 4 back on Traup. That's probably not going to happen, but a top 5 is still a great points day regardless.
I mean, I'd take that. I'd totally take that. I don't know what the strength of field is for tonight. I think it's pretty high though, so 3,240 something. I hear in my ears. So that's a 45. So that's a decent strength of field, David.
Yeah, that's strong. I mean, without a doubt, and you do have some of the top drivers in the championship points here too. This is a critical race. Getting a lot of green flag time, not a lot of room for error to test. It's going to mean a lot later in the season.
Perez trying to go on a hot lap there. He used a bit of a push to pass.
"22 seconds up Perez is right now. 7 on the lead lap. Robert Ridgway, last driver on that lead lap. I mean, regardless of what happens here, Perez has driven an incredible race to put so many drivers off the lead lap.
And I gotta tell you, like 105, 709, that's not far. That's only 5 seconds removed from like the big IndyCars lap time around here. So, yeah, shoutouts to these drivers. They're really driving fast.
Less than 10 to go. Laps winding down. Marsman back on the push to pass here. We might have some battles between the lappers and leaders again. That was 16th place in Marsman. Let's see what's going on here. Does look like we have a fight. And that's going to be Marsman and Forbes.
Out of the backfield, he's pretty close here. Oh, that's... I like that exit from that number 9 car. On the button.
He's going for it. Marsman has not been afraid all race long. It's the same old, and he will, just barely get it. I thought he was going to make some contact right out of there.
Yeah, given that wouldn't have been the second time, the first time he brushed the wall after doing a move. But yeah, I knew as soon as he had that exit, that exit out of the previous corner from the straight, that was so good that yeah, he had to try a move there.
Seven laps to go. Vidal on David Clennon just put down the push to pass. So that's a look at the fight for about 12th position. Maybe something bubbling right there. As we are taking a look now with the number 8 for a brief moment. We'll pull it right back to David Clennon there. Clennon is 2 laps down after a few incidents.
Trop is going to be running out of time here, David. Now he's got to focus on not allowing Matthews to come back on him now.
6 laps remaining. Time in the favor of one driver. Everyone else not so much. Robert Ridgway back on the push to pass, trying to stay on the lead lap. Ridgway, the 7th and last driver in that category. Stories are winding down, racing coming to a close, and with that being said, 5 laps remaining here in the Indy NXT series from St. Pete. Big thank you again to our friends at iCoaching for bringing tonight's coverage to you. iCoaching's high-level setups and personalized coaching programs are built to take your iRating and race consistency to the next level. Get your setup for this series as well as the iRacing IndyCar series by visiting them online at iCoaching.co. Not .com, but .co. iCoaching bringing you the rest of the way home here. With 5 remaining, Truppe has gotten the gap down to sub 2 seconds. Matthews joining him in that. We might have a 3-way fight for the last spot on the podium if that's the way things end.
I may have jinxed myself a bit if I said like Tom was running out of Sharp. He may have heard me. He's like, hang on, you idiot. I still have room for one more fight.
I think he's going to get there. Matthews is definitely getting closer. Gap 1.3 seconds. Watch out for Matthews here. If there's one more run left, it may just be the number 8. I wouldn't be surprised in the least. Hanswick gets on the push to pass. I think he knows that there's a little bit more pressure.
No, it's kind of like the thing when you, well, at least it happened with me when I was driving. Sometimes when you know, you're just stuck on a certain pace, and then you have someone behind you, and now you're unlocking 5/10 out of nowhere because now you're fighting for your life. Yeah, I think this is what happened maybe with Chop. The closer Matthews will get, the more Chop will feel like he needs to go faster, and will unlock maybe that overgear that was blocked earlier when he had a lot of room around him.
4 laps to go. Watching again with Truppe with now about 1.7 seconds to try to make it happen. This onboard perspective showing you the wheel work. These drivers have been battling the looseness all race long, certainly more now than ever before. I think the pressure is enough for one final charge. Matthews has the gap just at 1.3 seconds still. Push to pass being used now. Matthews back on it again. This is not an open and shut battle. Here's a lap traffic being passed by Perez. If any lap traffic comes up for the third place fight, I think that's going to be a big wrench in the equation.
Oh yeah, it always comes down like this. If I was like Hunchwick or Trupp, I wouldn't want to see any lap car close.
3. Next up, make it 2 laps to go. That's the next signal. The white flag makes the race official. Matthews, 1.2 seconds, now in the 1.1 range. This is it, the last chance. So if you got anything left in the tank, push to pass or anything else, it's about time we find out. Let's take a look at the left side of your screen and you'll see who has what. Rosenkrantz now holding on to 62 seconds of push to pass. It looks like he's got another opportunity as he really has enough to pull it down for the rest of the race.
Meanwhile, in our fight that interested, Trupp has the advantage of push to pass with 21 seconds. Meanwhile, Hanswick and Matthews only have enough for like a few pushes. So that's going to be very interesting to see how it goes around.
Honestly, if you are Trupp, I don't know how you don't burn it now. You should not have anything left by the end of the next stretch of laps. I think that's what it comes down to now. Push your way to the checkered flag. Use every second you have. 2 laps to go. When Perez crosses by the start finish this time by, it'll be 1 lap and a white flag to fly as we ride on board again with Matthews.
Nearly under a second, nearly close to a second there.
Perez back on the push to pass, which means he's crossing by the start finish right now to make it 1 lap to go.
Hey, you know, call IndyCar. Tell them to extend this race by 5 laps.
Perez out and away. Reminder, almost everyone is a lap down. The next closest is 30 seconds back. The next after that is 40 seconds back. So even though Perez is going to cross that start-finish line and a dominant win will be his, we will have another lap to look at. Let's keep our eyes on the 1 as he gets the job done. This is a big win for Perez. It'll move him all the way up to the top echelon in the championship standings, and it proves if he's here on a week-to-week basis, Ivan Machado Perez is a force to be reckoned with. He led every lap on the day, spent not a second outside the top spot, and as he makes it around the final hairpin, round 3 of the Indy NXT series here on iRacing is all his. Number 1 for a reason, Ivan Machado Perez will cross the checkered flag with more than half a minute to spare. Big win for Perez, but the race is still on behind us, particularly Matthews looking for one final pull, and you'll see now he is in striking distance of making the 4th place pass. Gap half a second, if that. The hairpin and the last stretch will be the final opportunity. Push to pass becomes a big deal here. The 16-second edge that Matthews has could be the difference between taking that spot and losing it. 3rd place will hang on. It's Matthews and Trupp for one final run down the line. Push to pass activated. 3rd place is secured, and it looks like so will 4th and 5th. Matthews tries. He just can't get there. Great fight. Trupp with 4th, Matthews 5th. And the last driver on the lead lap, championship leader, Robert Ridgway. What a way to end it. Huge win for Perez.
Yeah, Matthews needed maybe 1 or 2 more laps to get the move done, but still a good effort from them. And I mean, I think that's the second hat trick in broadcasted races that Perez pulled, because he also did that a few weeks ago at Sebring, and now he did again tonight.
Big win for Ivan Machado Perez, and with our 45 laps coming to an end, here are your unofficial results from St. Petersburg. It's Ivan Machado Perez, as we mentioned, over Chris Rosenkrantz for second, Michael Hanjwick going for third, and Johannes Trop for P4. Isabel Matthews takes the fifth place with Miles Brown sixth. Robert Ridgway enters leading the points. He finishes seventh with Bryce Calusa eighth, Gabriel Asailan in ninth, and J.W. Miller ending the top 10.
Uh, 11th will be Lilac Zaire finishing ahead of David Clennon. Lots of ups and downs for David in this race, ahead of Brian Vettel in 13th. 14th will belong to Christopher Sahim. Again, please, if you're there, you can correct me on how to pronounce your name. 15th will belong to Diederik Marsman, who also had a lot of ups and downs. Eric Forbes will finish in 16th position ahead of David Dalton Jr., who had a lot of issues today. Ellis Spice has flown straight to 18th position, and Guillaume Dupont will finish dead last.
Well, what a night, of course, of racing that gets done for some of these guys rather early here in St. Petersburg. It was a fast time for specifically one man, Ivan Machado Perez. The checkered flag falls, and that's all the action we have from St. Pete. So, what's up next week? Next race for the Indy NXT series is at Barber Motorsports Park, March 26th, 2026 for race 4 on the campaign. March 28th, just to reconfirm. So, with that being said, we got a defending winner going to another road racing venue. Could look for back-to-back. Championship battle definitely getting shuffled. Coverage will begin same time, same place here on VOR. So stay tuned for continued coverage of Indy NXT. That's what's up for next week, and you've been with us all race long from St. Petersburg here from VOR. I've been David Kreutz alongside Seb Kinder commentating, and Julian Altena working the board behind the scenes. Thank you for tuning in today. We're on the rise to 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed today's coverage. Great to have you here. Thank you for watching the 2026 Indy NXT series, and congratulations to Ivan Machado Perez as he wins big in St. Pete. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a great rest of your day.